and welcome to Moving Through Menopause. And I'd like to welcome back Claire Ottewell, Aromatherapist Extraordinaire. Hello, Claire, how are you?
Yes, I'm well, Philippa. Thank you very much. Enjoying the flash of sun that we have today.
Oh, yeah, it is lovely. I must say, you can't beat England or the United Kingdom, I should probably say, when the sun is shining and we've had a bit of rain and everything's so very green. It's so lovely. And so we are talking plants and herbs and oils and some movement strategies as well today to tackle the devilish hot flush, Claire.
Yeah, now you can clear something up for me because I call them hot flushes,
Mm.
and everywhere I look, they're known as hot flashes. And
Oh,
I
well,
can't work out if that's an Americanization or I'm just wrong and have been for many years.
you're right. We're right. And hot flash is how it's referred to in the States for sure, because I lived there for a time, as you know. So yeah, we say hot flush, they say hot flash. There's a song about that, isn't there?
Well, I'm glad then because because it is a kind of flushing experience. You get
Mm.
flooded and flushed, and flashing just brings different connotations to me.
It absolutely does. So we go along with the hot flush because that's what I always say anyway when I'm talking about it. And I definitely experienced hot flushes in my own journey. I definitely experienced them, and actually, what's interesting is that. When I'm getting to the fourth day on my HRT patch, I might just have another one again.
Hmm,
Yeah.
okay. So
Mm.
you take your HRT in cycles, do you? Because I just wear mine all the time.
Well, yes, but what I find is that you wear it for 3 days and then you swap it, and then I wear it for 4 days. What, you have it all the time? The same one?
I swap it every 3 days, 3 or 4 days, twice a week, but
Yeah,
it's
I
the
know.
same patch. It's no
I know.
different.
I know it. Mine's the same patch, but when get to the fourth day on that, there's one that's 3 and one that's 4, and I start to notice it wearing off. Is what I'm going
Oh,
to.
okay, really interesting. Okay, that's not my, yeah. Wow, okay.
Maybe I need more. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you need more. But yeah, that's interesting that you can still get a hot flush because
Mm.
how many years would you say you've been in menopause?
Oh, only about 18 months.
Okay. All right. I mean, I get them very rarely. Mine obviously was a medical menopause, and I had them to begin with, and I had them really badly for like immediately after my operations. But I don't really get them very often anymore. Maybe sometimes in the early hours in the morning, like as in just before I get up, maybe an hour or something before I get up, I find I'm a bit hot flushed, but generally not.
Yeah, well, mine was tend to be in the night, definitely, the night time for me. So, what do we do? Is the question, and there are lots of things that you can do, which is the great news. So, for me, what I do know is that hot flushes are improved when your thermoregulation systems overall are working well. And so, for the most part, people who exercise have better thermoregulation or are more able to cope with this variation, I guess, fluctuation. Also, it speaks to just having a good circulation overall can be something that helps with this. So, being fit, being healthy is always going to help us to tackle with life's ups and downs, and that includes temperature fluctuations. But if you find yourself in the middle of a hot flush and it's really wholly inconvenient, there are other things that we can try to help ameliorate this experience. So, Claire, what have we got up our sleeve today?
So on the essential oil front, it's quite interesting because I've got a load of oils in front of me here, which you obviously can't see, but I will hold up for you. Is there are certain essential oils that are really good for hot flushes. Then there's certain oils which are good for menopause,
Mm.
and sometimes the two cross over. But the two main ones that appear like in everything that I know and everything that I've studied are rose and geranium. They
Oh.
are the ones that cross everything for menopause hot flushes. And I just did I don't know if you saw it, you probably haven't had a moment to. Did you see the rose thing? I did a rose vlog because rose is a coolant, which you wouldn't necessarily know. And obviously, she does so many other things as well. But it depends what causes that hot flush. But quite often, it's kind of an emotional, it's a physical reaction and an emotional reaction
Yeah.
together, combined. And obviously, if we've got lots of kind of things our body's dealing with, toxins, etc., that helps to add to the mix. So I'd say always go with rose and geranium. And we're talking here about carrying a blend around with us, so that, as you say, if you're on the go, you're going to a meeting, you're in the supermarket, you're out for the evening, whatever, and you suddenly feel that horrible, oh my God, I'm going to be tomato red or beetroot red in a minute, and I'm going to start sweating. And then the concern, oh my God, am I going to start smelling all of that joy? Then you can use a blend, and you would literally just kind of pour a bit on your hands and do a dry inhalation and rub it up the back of your neck. Obviously, it's going to help you to smell better as well. So that'll mitigate the fear that you've got that you smell. But I'll just run through the oils which are really good for hot flashes or flushes, temperature oils. And what I'd say is, as with all things aromatherapy, there are certain oils that are kind of put for certain conditions, matched to certain conditions, but it's down to the individual as to what they like the smell of and what's going to work for them. It's
Yeah.
so personal. So you've got wintergreen, which is, I know, who wants to smell wintergreen? Wintergreen is also a painkiller, and I think it depends on which part of the world you hail from, because wintergreen is very much used by Native American Indians. So for some people, this is a smell that they'll particularly like. Some people also like a really medicinal smell. You know, if for them it has really lovely connotations. Clary sage, there won't be much surprise with that. That's also a really nice coolant. Spikenard.
I'm not sure what that is.
Spikenard. So that's a one that you haven't heard of before. And I want to say that it comes from the lavender kind of family. And it's a skincare oil, and it smells quite kind of herbaceous with hints of lavender. It's very precious oil, as in costly. Melissa, which
Oh,
yeah, lots of people find Melissa really good for all kinds of things.
isn't there another name for that?
Lemon balm,
Oh, that was it.
yeah,
Yes, lemon
that's
balm.
also a coolant.
Mhm.
Cardamom. So
Oh, okay.
again, it really is gonna depend on where you hail from.
Mm.
Lime,
Oh,
which interestingly, lime is in a similar family to, what was it, lavender or mint? I can't remember anyway. Sorry about that. Lovely to make mistakes on air. Pettigrain, which some people will be familiar with. Pettigrain is from the bitter orange tree, and it's the leaves of the bitter orange tree, and it smells amazing. I think it's lemon and lime. It's lemon and lime that are the ones that are very similar. So I do have lemon here as well. Vetiver.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a bitter grasses. That smells amazing. I love it. Then you've got bergamot,
Oh gosh.
jasmine, and
Oh,
neroli.
and
So
neroli. Did you say?
neroli is the floral part of the bitter orange tree.
Oh, oh.
So hailing from
It's definitely a citrus kind of a thing, because bergamot is also a citrusy aroma, isn't it?
yes, absolutely, a
And
floral.
then the lavender and floral with jasmine and rose and geranium. Oh, do you know what, Claire? I absolutely love. I'm addicted to geranium at the minute.
Really interesting. Yeah,
I
I
put
love geranium too.
everything on everything.
You should get rose as well, because rose is often adulterated with geranium because they smell quite similar, and then
Mm,
obviously rose has geraniol in it. Jesus,
geranium. Oh,
geraniol, yes. But yes, those two together are just an absolute force to be reckoned with.
Mm.
And I personally cannot get enough of peppermint, because peppermint's also really cooling. And so this would be one that if I was going to be going somewhere where I felt that I was at risk of a flush, I would be putting peppermint on myself, on my skin, as a coolant to just kind of, it also is incredibly grounding oil. I can't say enough about peppermint, but that's also going to give you the immediate kind of refreshing, I'm in the space, I can cope with it. So it's quite a lot. And that's why you pick your favorites, you'd have a blend, or you perhaps maybe just go with one, but it would be, the important thing would be carrying it on you and using it for that immediate
Inhalation.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, the aromas have such a powerful act on the brain. And so, this cooling effect, but also this emotional sort of cooling, because like you said, there's a lot of emotion tied around this undesirable, your body rebelling against you. And, I hate things that have a mind of their own and just, overcome you at unexplained times for unexplained reasons. And that, I find that wholly irritating. So yeah, any way that we can bring these things under our control, feel like, we've got a little more control over a situation is always going to make us feel better, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked before about the acceptance necessary of the fact that you're in this stage of your journey and
Yeah, I
to
forgot.
welcome it and welcome all that it brings rather than focus on all that you've lost.
Well, I must say, this journey has brought me to meet so many lovely people and to learn some new things, and that's a really thrilling prospect in the middle of your life to think that that the trajectory is in the upward direction. Is just fantastic. So yeah, it's brought me lots of joy in a funny kind of a fashion.
Yeah, it makes you richer. They say women are like fine wine. We improve with age. We certainly, you get the choice. Are you going to carry on learning and being interested in life without being dragged backwards by, hormones and responsibilities? And you can, as you say, upward trajectory. And I really feel that. I think that's kind of how menopause should be viewed.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic. The more the merrier. Let's spread the word, Claire. Get it around.
Love your menopause. Embrace it.
There you go. So that's not to say it is not without its challenges. And the other thing we were going to have a chat about today was the oral symptoms, because this was something that maybe a lot of people are not aware of. But I did have my own experience of this. I think there's a reason that I'm doing the work that I'm doing, and that is because if there's a symptom, I reckon I've had it. So, and it was quite a funny experience, because I'll tell you this: for quite a while before my menopause, I guess I was perimenopausal, I would find myself with too much saliva.
Hmm.
And, and this was a funny thing, that because I work in a job where I talk to people all the time, I used to be really worried, because on occasion, some of my too much saliva would find its way out of my mouth, headed towards somebody that I was speaking to. And oh my gosh, this was really embarrassing. Anyway, so that's not particularly a symptom of the menopause, but maybe it was for me perimenopause. I don't know.
I think I had that too. I
Did you?
definitely had that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't draw the parallel, but I
Mm.
definitely had it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I had that for a time, and
Mm.
then a little while ago, I was going through a phase where I thought, oh gosh, I'm thirsty all the time. Feel really thirsty all the time, and then I'd have a drink, but it didn't seem to make a difference. And then I realised that actually I wasn't thirsty; I was just dry. And so I think this is the dry mouth that that we're talking about, and it was really unusual, because, like I say, I felt dry, but drinking something didn't really help. So that is to say, of course, that hydration is important. However, if we have got this sensation of dryness, and estrogen definitely does have an impact on the salivary production. So perhaps it does work in both directions. That that you can have too much or too little, and so saliva has this really important role in our mouth to manage microbes, but also, it contains the amylase, the digestive enzyme that begins the digestion of carbohydrates in your mouth. And so, digestion can be impaired as well if we don't have a sufficient saliva being produced. So it is a consideration for our whole system, but particularly for our oral health. And so I know there are some tips that you have at your disposal to share with us.
Yeah, first of all, on the dryness side of things and the fact that the thirst wasn't able to quench it, it's because, as you say, the mucous membranes in the mouth are just like completely parched, and you need things that are going to moisten them up. I'm going to use that word again that I'm not going to be able to say today, but mucilaginous. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
how to write it. Do you know what I mean? Like really moisturizing things that come from behind and nourish and put a protective layer of moisture so that they can't be like dehydrated. So it's kind of looking at eating and drinking things that are particularly high in those like those constituents and qualities. And there are, aloe vera gel is an example of something that's got good mucilaginous qualities. It's very kind of refreshing and is going to help with that. I'm just trying to think. There's so many herbs that do that. I think plantain is like that. It's moon herbs and water herbs you're looking for, really. Cleavers, chickweed, things like that are going to kind of help with that deep penetrating moisture that's going to come topically, and also from you having provided your system with these things to then kind of replenish your skin cells. On the dry mouth side of things, the risk is that, as you say, when your mouth gets dry, then the bad bacteria can have a field day, and that can kind of compromise oral well-being, and obviously has an effect on digestion, as you've talked about. So if you are experiencing that, what you can do, which will help, is you can use like a mouthwash made out of essential oils, and then you'd be using the oils that are particularly good for oral hygiene, which would be clove, peppermint, lemon, cinnamon, those kind of rosemary in a blend. So doTERRA helpfully have made a blend On Guard, which tastes like Christmas. But it's got everything you need in it to kind of put that with deionized water. It's always got to be deionized, so there's nothing that can live in it, in a glass bottle, which you've pre-sterilized. And then you've got your very own mouthwash, which isn't going to compromise you in any way, shape or form. And if you use that every night after you brushed your teeth, and I do mine with my facial exercises stuff to try and get rid of in fact, you can tell us afterwards what you think about how we can do this with your movement expertise. So I do that, and I think that's really important, because gum health is directly relational to heart health and the health of your arteries and your venal system. Also, they do a great toothpaste, which is really natural, got nothing nasty in it, and that's really good for moisturizing, because it's full of essential oils. So it's got nothing in it that's going to dry your mouth. It's only going to replenish your mouth, help your teeth, etc. Again, tastes like Christmas. It's got the same blend of oils in it, and actually children can use it. It's wild orange is one of the key flavors, and it tastes nice. Obviously, if you don't like clove, then that's not the one for you, but you can get other natural toothpastes that there's lots on the market that can keep your teeth white and protected and help with kind of motivating the good flora and fauna that you need in your mouth without wiping everything out of existence. I mean, toothpaste, typical toothpaste, has do not swallow on it for very good reasons, whereas anything like this is absolutely fine to swallow. So little people can't help but swallow. So just to put that out there, I don't want to have the fluoride debate right now, but that's just a few things that you can try at home.
Yeah. And I mean, I suppose we should say that not all oils are equal, and that some are not this nutrition grade that we can ingest. And so I'm guessing that, that's important when we're using them in our mouth as a mouthwash or a toothpaste. The idea that, like you say, if you inadvertently swallowed a bit, it's perfectly safe as long as you're using oils that are, this nutrition grade.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, because so many of the oils I've mentioned have quite high risk of being adulterated, because to produce they're not inexpensive, and so you just have to be mindful of that, because yes, as Philippa says, if it's going inside, an essential oil will have a completely different effect from one you may expect, and you may be compromising one of your body processes negatively. So it's a good idea to go to an aromatherapist like me, and find out which ones will work for you and which ones are safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, things can always react with medications or whatever. So if you're ever in any doubt, take advice from an appropriate medical professional. We're not professing to be that today, are we?
Are we? No,
Well,
I'm not an orthodox
not
professional, but
yeah.
but a traditional practitioner. Yes, so absolutely, and obviously not an expert in pharmacology. So that's the compromise, isn't it? It's basically, if you're on using pharmacology, it's like making sure that a powerful essential oil doesn't knock out or magnify the effect of your medication.
That's right. Reactions with your conventional medications, if you take any, which we try not to.
Yeah, lemon's generally all right. Peppermint is the one that people have to be a little bit aware of. If you use homeopathy, peppermint essential oil is not very good with that. And the other ones I've talked about, yes, clove, you'd have to be careful, I suppose, yes, and rosemary, definitely. So, yeah, but wild orange is pretty safe. It's not really a high risk oil at all.
No, okay. Well, so yeah, not everything's the same, and some are more innocuous than others. But take advice from somebody at least if you're in any doubt. Is the main thing.
Here's the main message. Yes,
But
try this at home, folks, under careful supervision.
there you go. So the thing for me is that that I've been learning recently about is the contribution of mouth breathing to dry mouth. And the fact that so many of us, without actually knowing it, will habitually breathe through the mouth. Now, this is unavoidable when you're in the middle of a conversation, obviously. It doesn't make great telly to watch somebody breathe in and out through the nostrils, does it? But this is the route that ideally the air should take, because if it travels through the nostrils, then it's getting moistened and it's getting filtered as well. So in these times of this viral overload that we've got going on, breathing through the nostrils is an opportunity to filter out particles in the air, and also to moisten as it travels through. And so if you are somebody who goes to bed every night with a glass of water, knowing that at some point you're going to feel parched in the night or in the morning even, then the chances are that you are sleeping with your mouth open and breathing through your mouth. And this has fairly significant ramifications actually for your oral health, but also for your overall health. And so this is something that, I don't know. I know for a fact that I pretty much breathe with my mouth closed. Sleep with my mouth closed. I've never, ever needed to take a glass of water to bed with me. but I know lots of people who do. And are you putting your hand up there, Claire?
I do, yeah. I breathe through my nose though, but I do get dry mouth in the middle of the night. So maybe I'm inadvertently opening my mouth. I mean, I have to wear a mouth guard anyway, and
Mm.
so that sometimes opens it. But yeah, I've taken water to bed since I was a little girl.
Oh, maybe it's just a habit then.
Maybe I'm doing a load of stuff I shouldn't be doing, but
Well, no, it's not to say that you shouldn't take water to the bedroom if you know, definitely we need to remain hydrated. This is key, it's crucial. But you know, the idea that you're totally feeling parched generally speaks to the fact that you might be sleeping with your mouth open. And definitely if you're a snorer, the chances are you are sleeping with your mouth open. And so,
I'm not sure.
no, me neither. I have it on good authority. Anyway, so this is you know, something that's quite important to consider, and actually, you know, we know two things about breathing. One is that it does speak to the stress centers in the brain, and so that we can calm ourselves with the breath and bring our anxiety levels down a notch, manage our stress with only a breath.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do a few and string them together, then even better. So you know, breath of life. It's that for a reason, isn't it? It brings the oxygen into the body and removes the noxious, toxic gases that we need to get rid of. So you know, think about just think about this as you go about your day. Are you somebody who's overly breathing through your mouth? And maybe I try it, you know, when I go for a walk, close the mouth and make a point of breathing only through the nostrils. It's more energy efficient, for one. And so, you know, people who have breathing dysfunction often talk about fatigue being a feature. And, you know, we know that with menopause, fatigue is a feature. So, you know, as much as possible, if we can bring all these different interventions together to into play, then we've got a greater chance of improving our overall state of wellness. And yeah, so the breathing through the nostrils was something that I wanted to mention, for the idea that your mouth will be more lubricated if it's closed, for one,
Absolutely.
and the importance of that for our oral health. So think about that. And I did hear the other day, I'm reading an audio book at the moment, well, listening to, I guess, an audio book, which talks about putting a piece of tape the size of a postage stamp across your lips when you go to bed at night. Yes.
Wow.
Um, and then, you know, so the idea isn't that because I've read about mouth taping and thought, oh, that's a bit extreme, you know, taping your mouth, and you just have visions of a great big I mean, tape over your mouth. But actually, the clarification came when I was listening to this audiobook, and he talked about just a piece the size of a postage stamp
I'm
across.
guessing surgical tape, because otherwise, if you use sticky tape, then you're going to be ripping off your lips.
Yeah, no,
That's what I was thinking.
micropore or something similar across your lips, and just a postage stamp, and to have that in the night, so that sometimes you're not necessarily meaning to open your mouth, clearly, because you're fast asleep. And something just holding it gently together might make all the difference. Two, one, how you feel when you wake up. So if you wake up feeling fatigued, for instance, it may be that this is due to the fact that you are not getting the restful sleep that you need, even if you feel like you're asleep the whole night. Um, anyway, I'm just throwing that out there, Claire. The idea that small tips, you know.
I think that, no, I think that's really useful. What I'd say is I treat an awful lot of people for sinus problems.
Oh, yeah.
So their biggest issue when what's triggering mouth breathing is congested sinuses.
Yes.
And we have to do a lot of work over diet and clearing up mucus forming foods in the diet. But if people wanted to know how to improve the air quality in their bedroom so that they could clear their sinuses naturally, then it would be lemon and peppermint oil on the diffuser is
Mm.
going to help that to be more, or eucalyptus, more feasible.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
I think it's a good idea. But some people also, the jaw drops back, don't they? It's like they lie back and their jaw drops, and that's why they
yeah,
snore. Is that?
yes, yeah, yeah.
And I guess if they're taped together, they might be more aware of it. I think it would be one of those things that you had to practice. You'd had to do it quite a while and not give up straight away,
Mm.
because your body would have to learn that, sorry, we're doing this differently.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bit like wearing the night guard. I have to wear a night guard also, and so you think at first when you put that thing in your mouth that you're never going to sleep a wink with it in, but then before you know it, you kind of looking for it. Where is it? I couldn't possibly. I feel strange without it now going to sleep. So it's kind of one of those things, isn't it? That a period of adjustment is inevitable, but that once you've kind of got over that, then you might just miss the tape.
You might. I might try it on my husband and see if it helps him to
I
stop
know. Well,
snoring.
I'm definitely. This is one for mine. Um, so we were talking about and you mentioned nasal congestion, which definitely gets in the way of breathing through the nostrils, and so there is a nasal sort of clearing technique that you can use where you plug the nostrils. So first of all, you would exhale all the air out of your lungs, plug the nostrils, and then it's the nodding the head and shaking the head, nodding the
Wow.
yeah, and shaking the head. This is a yoga technique. Yogging the head, shaking the head. Yeah. And so bearing in mind that I was talking then, so clearly I wasn't holding my breath. Take care, Claire. Don't overhurt your neck or anything.
Come to you with neck problems.
Yeah. So,
But
so then you repeat that for maybe 5 cycles, and you only ever hold your breath to the point where you feel like when you need to breathe. Then, of course, definitely do take a breath. But that can be a technique that can help to clear congested airways, and definitely, I love using menthol and those aromas. I mean, we were inhaling that for years. As a junior physio, we would have those menthol crystals and go around and with the head over the bowl and all that business. So it's definitely a remedy that has been around for a long time. And what's wrong with that? Nothing. It, this wisdom, this traditional wisdom, it's there for a reason.
yep, absolutely.
So,
Mm.
so anyway, we're kind of going a bit off topic, but it was the mouth that brought me to that. And you mentioned food, and of course, there are things that will contribute to the dryness in the mouth. And so, I'm sure you would say this: alcohol, caffeine,
Sugar.
sugar, yeah, and
No.
interestingly, at this time of the year, antihistamines.
Yes, absolutely. If you have to use them, that's one of the side effects, isn't it? You get very dry and drawn out. A lot of medication actually side effects is dry mouth, dryness.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
interestingly, it mentions decongestant specifically. So, I mean, think about it logically. A decongestant, what they're doing there is trying to dry up the
yeah,
secretions. So, it's like all of conventional medication definitely has its indications and its side effects that go along with it. And so, it is a bit of a navigating the gauntlet, isn't it, with some of these things?
I mean, really, yeah, absolutely. And the best thing to do is really try and look at what's causing the problem in the first place and then eradicating that rather than just focusing on treating symptoms. Obviously, you land up treating symptoms if there's physical damage done
Mm.
to your sinuses for whatever reason. Um, and then, yeah, you just have to deal with what's left.
Yeah.
But, oh, really interesting. Yeah.
Food for thought, as ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And food obviously has a big impact on flushing as well, as does alcohol, as does caffeine. can really, because it's your body's way of kind of getting rid of things, which is why it can suddenly feel so sudden. As you said earlier, it's like a spring upon you. It's like, there's no rhyme nor reason. Why am I having this right now? And actually your body's just gone, do you know what? I'm going to quickly heat you up because we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to do it now. And that can happen a lot, depending on what you're eating and drinking. So, and menopause is the time in our lives where we stop getting away with everything we got away with. If I had a penny for every person who said, "Oh, I had an allergy as a child to that, but and then it just seemed to go away, and I've carried on eating it, and now it seems to be causing a problem again," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's because it never really went away." But yeah, your body is like going, right, I don't have much capacity left. I'm managing this massive change. Anything you put inside me that I don't like, I'm sorry, we're going to have a bit of a fight about it.
Yeah. So, and I mean, a lot of these measures that you might take are contributing to your health in the broadest sense.
Mm.
We know that alcohol affects us systemically, as does caffeine, heart, salt, the arteries. So by cutting back on some of these known contributors to hot flushes, we're actually just giving ourselves a real health boost, aren't we, Claire?
Yeah, like a health makeover.
Mm.
Sugar's one of the big ones. A lot of us use sugar just to get through because and carbs, because they're like sugary carbs, especially, like a quick win, but they're actually a very long loss. So it's like just kind of looking at things differently, and it can feel challenging to consider having to change things that you perceive you rely on in order to get through, because they give an immediate reaction. Like caffeine gives you an immediate stimulation where you think, oh, I'm awake again, I feel like I can function. But actually the effects of caffeine just carry on going throughout the whole day and can quite often lead to insomnia and all kinds of dehydration and issues, etc. And we get to this age, we can't drink wine. A lot of people get to menopause and they can't drink wine anymore, and they're like, what's happened here? And it's like, well, you probably could if you focused on wine without any preservatives and sulfites and things like that in it. You could get away with it a little bit more, but it's just the kind of tannin processes. Tannins are really drying. So if you're having so that's what they used to use tannin for. I mean, they do it for leather and things like that, don't they? So, drying kind of, and your body's just going, I'm sorry, I'm quite dry already because you're not drinking enough water, you're not eating the right things, and now you want to fill me full of wine. Thanks. No.
No, just say no.
And I think there is a part, if you do everything right, you can get to a point where you just don't have any of this and you have quite a nice transition, and you can just enjoy the freedom and the escape and the coming into your own and waking up your powerful woman inside of you.
Yeah. Get to a place where feeling well is the default, okay? So to come to the place of homeostasis where, things are on a level, you feel like you're on a level playing field, this place of wellness, and it is a holistic approach. There's no one solution. If only we had the magic one, Claire, I'd love it. And it takes a village, as the saying goes. This multifaceted approach is what I advocate, through nutrition, through movement, through natural approaches, herbs. Eat your way with herbs, rub them on
And,
you.
and drink. You can make really nice drinks. You can get, drink a really gorgeous herbal tea with your friends instead of, a bottle of wine, and have a conversation that everyone remembers, and, talk about things that matter.
I kind of feel that I make myself increasingly unpopular by harping on about drinking wine or any other kind of alcoholic beverage. For me, it's better without it. So anyway, I think before I go too much on my soapbox, we should call a halt to proceedings, and just remains for me to say thank you so much again for putting up with me and coming along and having a chat, Claire, today. So thank you again.
And thank you for inviting me. As you know, I very much enjoy our sessions and our chance to chat and share what we know. And there's a lot of us in our group, isn't there? and we all are the people that know what to do. So we've already put the village together for people,
Yeah.
should they need to have support around nutrition and healing and things like that to get you to that place. And if you do drink, we're not judging you. There are ways you can get around that can support your body. So absolutely, everybody has to do what they have to do. I still drink. It's just one of those things. I don't drink a lot, but I do drink. I need to drink. I've got kids. So young kids, I should say. I think when they get older, you don't need to drink so much.
No, mine
So,
are all.
we're not perfect, but we're here to help.
We are here to help. Thank you for putting me straight on that, Claire. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and we'll speak again soon. Bye
You
for
too.
now.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.